someone who has worked with 3 generations of Gandhis. Ghulam Nabi Azad was essentially part of the Congress system. Many say that he was the architect of the current Congress system, which he has exited. The system which he has called as a system of sycophants or of coterie. It is similar to what has been echoed by many who have quit Congress, and many of whom have worked very closely with Rahul Gandhi.
What would I say to that? I would say that people don't really have a very, very remarkable imagination. They all seem to find the same words and the same phrases and the same reasons to give for the decision they are taking. But be that as it may, of course, he has worked 3 generations in the Congress party, but many things that he would have done, and like most of us do, many things that he would have done would have not been very comfortable for others in the party or for different generation of people. But you just have to live with it. I mean, you have to, you can't just become a baby and say, no one is listening to me, nobody is doing anything for me. You have to work your way through, get successes and you get failures, and you have to live with all of them. And then if you've done it all your life, and a new generation takes over, and the new generation has its own systems, you just have to accept it. You can't just simply freeze everything as it was 30 years ago and expect that things will continue in the same manner. So I'm not quite sure that I can make much of what has been said in terms of the complaints that are made. And I frankly think it's not worth our while to dwell too much on it.
Okay, let me bring in Prithviraj Chavan. Mr. Chavan, you said that you're pained at Mr. Azad's exit. Are you pained with the exit, or are you pained at the scathing tone of this letter? I mean, we have seen so many exit letters, but this one certainly really hurts the Congress because of the manner in which he has cited instances, and many say this is fact.
No, let's not broaden the scope of the debate. I think we have asked for reforms within the Congress party, 23 of us, 3 of them are left, we have 20 of us are left. We still continue to ask for reform. What reforms are you asking for? All we are saying that let the Congress party be run as per the 135-year-old Congress constitution. Now, what's wrong with that? Now, Mr. Ghulam Nabi has made some serious scathing allegations and make some accusations. Unfortunately, those are his personal views and all that. But again, the criticism from the Congress party against Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad is also very unfortunate. That we gave you so much, the Congress party gave you so much. This is a Darbari attitude. After all, it's a democratic party. Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad got elected to the Congress Working Committee whenever elections were held. Now, after Calcutta 1997, no elections have been held for the last 24 years. And therefore, you say, can we made him a member of the cabinet? Well, cabinet is formed of the most competent people that party has at that given point. If you happen to be a competent member and was made a minister, now do you see, like the Mughal dynasty, that I gave you this thing, that I gave you so much and all that thing? This whole attitude is a Darbari attitude. And that's why we feel, leave apart the allegations in the letter, let us have democratic elections. If Rahul Gandhi sincerely wants to lead the opposition and oppose Mr. Modi, then let him contest the election, let him be democratically elected president, that he will have the legitimate authority to forge an alliance with the opposition party. But what Mr. Modi wants Congress to fight every single seat so that the opposition votes get divided and Modi rules forever.
Okay. Priyanka Chaturvedi, the fact is also that Rahul Gandhi has been a reluctant leader. Someone who is constantly pushed by his party to take a particular role, but he seems to be declining it. Several opposition leaders, including Mamata Banerjee, have been vocal in their views that Congress lacks that fire in the belly to take on the Modi-Shah juggernaut and to also be a responsible opposition. What are your thoughts?
I'd just like to say one thing here. Everybody might have an opinion. So do I. I may also have an opinion. But it is for the Congress party members and Congress party office bearers to choose who they want as their party president. And if it is overwhelmingly Shri Rahul Gandhi, then I think across political parties it needs to be respected. I just like to say one thing here. You can have many issues with the style of functioning, reluctant leadership, etc. But that is how Congress workers want it to be. Why are we running away from the fact that internally most of the political party members of the Congress party believe in his leadership? Whether he's being able to connect with the larger audience in the nation is something we can all question and challenge. But Congress party members overwhelmingly believe that, barring the 23 who felt in a certain way, overwhelmingly, and I think as Sandeep Dixit ji has gone and said, this was a banner for reform, not for rebellion. So now that or revolt, I think his word is revolt.
Yes.
So I think it is for the larger narrative to come into picture, and having worked, Mr. Azad having worked in various positions, to grudge any new leadership emerging and to grudge any youngsters taking over or not being part of decision making. I think that has to happen as a smooth transition process.
Ma'am, what about this charge that the Congress party has reached a point of no return? This is what Ghulam Nabi Azad has said in his letter. And if the principal opposition party has reached a point of no return, this isn't really good news for the entire opposition.
I totally agree with you that there needs to be a strong opposition to Bharatiya Janata Party, which has become overwhelmingly a centralized force, which is using all central agencies to hit out at opposition, try to weaken its own alliance partners, to use various agencies to silence opposition. And the last thing that the opposition needs is this kind of rebellion within the ranks in any of the opposition political parties. That's point one. Now, the point two that you speak about with regards to coterie. Are we trying to say that Ghulam Nabi Azad ji, for over 40 years, he's been in the party, he did not himself have a coterie? Are we saying that most of the general secretaries who've been serving in the Congress for many, many years now did not have their own coteries? For Priyanka Chaturvedi, I'm just giving you one example. For one Priyanka Chaturvedi to rise through the ranks, I must say it came because she smashed those coteries, but failed those coteries as well. So, I mean, every political party, it is not the Congress party alone. It is the Bharatiya Janata Party, everybody. When they reach these levels of seniority, they have their own coteries, and for them to accuse each other, I'm not making a case for anybody. All I'm trying to say is that at this point in time, the opposition weakens every time we see this kind of rebellion, especially when it's coming close to 2024, where we go for an all-important election, and we have to go as one unit who are standing up against the growing authoritarianism coming from the Bharatiya Janata Party. And that is for the Congress Party also to introspect.
And Salman Khurshid, would you also say that the time has come for old to make way for the new in the Congress? And that is the reason why, because there is this ongoing tussle in multiple states. One of the reasons being cited is this, that the old guard doesn't give way to or responsibility to the young Turks. Many members of the G23, I'm not too sure if what is left of G23 now, have left, but there is also an indication that there has to be some kind of an arrangement between the old and the new. That the old must give way.
But then why is the new generation going? A lot of people in the new generation have gone.
Fine enough.
I mean, I can understand that the old feel that they're not wanted anymore, but I think that's not true about the party. The party has emphatically and repeatedly said that you've got to have a decent mix of the old and the new, of the old and the young. That's what the party has repeatedly said. And this is not rocket science that you require in every organization. But the trouble here is a lot of very, let us say, talented young people have left. Now, they were talented undoubtedly because we saw that they were talented, but that they could sustain their place and their commitment to a party obviously had question marks, because the very fact that they slipped that easily and decided to go elsewhere indicates that their commitment was somehow lacking.